Hey there, Brittany Shootman with Brilliant People, and I'm in what I'm affectionately calling my COVID quarters. And like most of you, I'm working. For the most part, the people I work with and or live with are pretty positive and funny, and I really appreciate that. But right now, one of my peeps is just stuck in negativity mode. To protect the identity of this person, I'm just going to call the person Riley, and I'm not going to use any pronouns that are associated with gender. Okay, so let me explain a little bit about my relationship with Riley. So, if I were to ask a question of Riley, a lot of times I just don't get an answer, and so I have to ask again. If the question that I've asked has anything to do with whether something has been completed, has been done incorrectly, or just hasn't been done at all, then the answer I get is said with exasperation and or defensiveness. And that's because Riley is never to blame. Riley is always the victim. And if Riley is down, everybody else has to be down too, because anybody else being happy would just be too difficult to take. And so Riley picks at people and trying to create arguments, and or she or he says negative things about what other people are doing or saying. So that brings me to the quote for today, which is, negative people need drama like oxygen. Stay positive and take their breath away. Unknown author. So I want to give you some tips for if you are working or living with a Riley. The first thing that you can do is, if the person in your life is negative, but it's feeling more like it's situational, then the best thing you can do is just sit down with the person to have a conversation. You can do it either virtually or in person if this person lives with you. And ask questions like, how are you? How are you feeling? Is there anything that I can do for you? Is there anything that you want to talk about? Or do you have questions about anything? Sometimes when people are feeling stressed, just having the opportunity to out what they're being stressed about can shake the blues. And, right now, COVID-19's got us all wound a little tightly, and that person just may not understand that their frustration and underlying anxiety is leaching out of them and onto you. However, if the person in your life that is being negative right now kind of tends to always be that way, what you might want to do is use something called the I statement. And this is really going to be a tactic that you would use long term in order to really improve the relationship. So an I statement is basically where you explain to the other person how their behavior is affecting you, how it's making you feel. So instead of saying something, well, let me give you an example. Let's say that I ask Riley if an assignment has been completed. And the answer I get is, you never told me to do that. I think you just don't like me. If I have been dealing with this negativity all day or all week or all month, my first response might be, you never listen to what I tell you to do, or you never seem to take responsibility for any of your actions. Now, both of those statements are giving Riley a sense of how I'm feeling in the moment, but they're also going to put Riley on the defensive. And that's not a good thing if we want to keep our conversations level. So instead, I would use an I statement, which sounds like this. Riley, I feel really disrespected when you talk to me that way. I asked you a question about where you stand with the assignment. If I want to build a relationship with Riley, I have to keep it level, right? And I have to speak to Riley with respect. So, I statements are brilliant, and they can really de-escalate a conversation because they're allowing you to share how you feel, and then that can allow the other person to step in and say how they feel. And then you can have a discussion about, what's going on, what's keeping the assignment from being completed, why there's so much defensiveness around it. And all of that can work to improve your relationship with a Riley. So if you have a Riley in your life right now that seems to be sucking all the oxygen out of the room, stay positive and take their breath away by using an I statement. All right, I hope you're having a good one. Go be brilliant.